Let's take a look at Lesson 6, Estimate with Percents. So we've had some practice changing percents into fractions. This is going to help us to estimate with percents. So let's look at our real world link. Josephina surveyed 298 students and found that 52% like scary movies. Estimate, there's the important word. We're just using rounding. Estimate the number of students that like scary movies. Okay, so let's look at the numbers that they give to us in this problem. We have 52% and 298 students. So what I'm thinking is I have to figure out what is 52% of 298. So this bar diagram is going to help us visualize that problem. Down below, they have the number of students. So we could say, okay, here's 0 students, 75 students, 150 students, 225 students. In here, because I want to round 298, I'm going to put it 300 students. Now let's look at our percents. If I look at the common percents from 0 to 100 at the top of the bar diagram, I could go from 0% to 25%, 50%, 75%. And if you notice, 50% right here is going to be half of this 300, so that's why it's 150 right there. 25% right here is 75 out of the 300, and 75% right here is 225 out of the 300. So what common percent is 52% close to? Well, we can see right here, that's the 50%. And let's shade the bar diagram above to show our answer. So if I shaded 50% of this bar diagram, it would look like that. So we already rounded 298 to the nearest hundred, so 298 is about 300. So my answer in the box below, use the bar diagram to estimate 52% of 298. So what we did was we took 52% and we rounded it to 50%. And then we took 298 and rounded it to 300. And I know from working with my fractions, fraction of a number, 50% means half. So half of 300 is 150. Okay, it says use the bar diagram below to estimate 73% of 400. Go ahead and try that on your own, see how you do. Turn the page and let's just look at the process of estimating. Estimate the percent of a number. And I'm reading at the top. Estimating with percents will provide a reasonable solution to many real-world problems. We choose compatible numbers. That means we have to find numbers that work well together that are easy to do in our heads. So we choose compatible numbers when estimating the percent of a number. So let's look at our first example. Estimate 47% of 692. So let's look at 47%. It's close to 50%, and we know 50% is 1/2. And then we're going to round 692 to 700 because that's pretty close to 700. So now these two numbers are compatible. 1/2 of 700 is 350. And remember, 1/2 or half means to divide by 2. So our bar diagram would show below here, this is 700. Halfway is 350. And my percents would be 0%, 50%, and 100%. So 47% of 692 is about 350. Let's take a look at the next example. Estimate 60% of 27. So if I remember, 60% means 60 hundredths. And if I simplify that, I get 6/10, but I still have to simplify, I get 3/5. See if you can remember that. Okay, so round 27 to 25 since it's divisible by 5. So I'm looking at my denominator and trying to figure out what 5 will go into evenly that's close to 27, and it's 25. So 1/5 means divide by 5. So we can see our bar diagram. They divided it into 5 equal sections. They have labeled each section by multiples of 5. And then because 1/5 is the same as 20%, each section also represents 20%. So this is from here to here is 20%, 40%, 60%. So this demonstrates that 60% of this 25 would actually be 15 right here. Okay, I'm going to do this without a bar diagram. You'll see how easy it actually is. So 48% is close to 50%. What is close to 76 that 50 will go into evenly? Well, I know 75 is close to 76, so let's see if this will work. 1/2 of 75 will not work because 75 isn't divisible by 2. So I'm going to try a different number rather than 75. What about 1/2 of 76? I'll just keep it at 76. I know 2 goes into 76 evenly because it's a even number. So I'll let you finish that. And then the same thing with B. 18% is close to 18% of 42. 18% is close to 20%. And since 20% is actually 20 hundredths, which is 1/5, what would be close to 42 that 5 will go into evenly? It would be 40. So go ahead and finish that. Finish C, and then let's see. Let's go on to the next page and look at a real world problem. So polar bears can eat as much as 10% of their body weight in less than an hour. If an adult male polar bear weighs 715 pounds, the question is, and about as important, tells us we estimate, about how much food can he eat in 1 hour. So to determine how much food a polar bear can eat in 1 hour, you need to estimate. This is the problem. What is 10% of 715? So let's think about what 10% means. 10% means 1/10. And 715 is about 700. So they're showing you using equivalent ratios here. I would probably do this. 1/10 of 700 equals, what's 700 divided by 10, because that's just a division problem, and 700 divided by 10 is 70. This method is going back to our equivalent ratios. If you want to take a look at that, you can, but I'm not going to go over that. This is the method I just used. And then go ahead, do the got it problem. And one more. Now we're going to skip this bottom part for example 4. We're not going to do that. Turn the page. Another real world problem. An airline records the snack orders of passengers. Last year, 9% of all passengers ordered ginger ale to drink. So how many passengers are there? There are 408 passengers on the flight to Houston, Texas. That tells us we're going to estimate, about how many passengers does the airline expect to order ginger ale on this flight? So here's the problem. We have to figure out what is an estimate of 9% of 408. So 9% is close to 10%. So I could round that to 10% of 408 is close to 400. So my problem would be 10% is 1/10 of 400. It's a division problem because you're finding a part of a whole. 400 divided by 10 is 40. This way showed you to do it a little bit different. You can go ahead and read through that if you want to figure their way out. Go ahead and do the got it problems, E, F, G. And for homework, I would like you to do the guided practice, page 140. So I'm going to go back, say do, page 140, guided practice. All right, have a great night. Come back with any questions. Write them on the side of your book if you need to ask me any questions.